I'm Dr. Melissa Cottle, and this is Dr. Smell's Message. I want to welcome a great author all the way from Greece today. His name is David Armstrong, and he has a book that he has written called Why Me? My Fight for Life. He's an incredible young man, and our journey, let me say, has been a little bit strange, but we'll get into that in a minute. Welcome, Dave. How are you?
Life is excellent, Dr. Mel. Life is excellent. Yeah, our journey started off really amazingly strange, but strange.
It did. But I'm certainly glad we have connected and we have managed to make things work. So first of all, I just want everyone to get into your book and the title of it, which is called Why Me, again, and My Fight for Life. So just tell us a little bit about the book and what made you write it.
So I grew up in the inner city in California without a mom. My mom passed away when I was about 12 years old. After she passed away, I had no family. I was in and out of juvenile detention, boys' home, foster homes, all kinds of stuff. And so after she passed away, I had nobody, literally nobody in my life, no family. So I was all alone. And there were many times that I asked myself, why me? Why me? You know, I have a chapter in the book that I talk about me trying to kill myself. And why me? Why my mom? And I think as I emerged into adulthood, I realized that a lot of us ask ourselves these questions. You know, why did I develop cancer? Why did my parents pass away? Why did my sister get into a car accident? And the truth is, there is no why me. It's why not, and that's just the truth. We're not the exception to the rule. It's just when it happens to us, it's sometimes hard to deal with. So my book really just is about trying to give back to humanity, trying to give back to people, and trying to help someone bring a little bit of perspective to their lives by looking inside of the mind of somebody that went through a lot and came out on the other side of that tunnel to, like you said, I'm retired in Greece after 24 years of active duty service to the Air Force in the United States. I own mentoring programs for at-risk youth, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not trying to brag. It just kind of quantifies you, when you go, look, I'm not just some guy that just made it out the hood. I'm some guy that made it out of the hood and gave back and was able to change others' lives by the bad things and overcoming situations throughout my life.
That's, you have an incredible story. I want to show everyone, first of all, your cover and your cover reveal. So I'm going to be sharing my screen and let everyone see what we're talking about. And this is his book called Why Me? My Fight for Life. Now let's take a look at the cover reveal trailer. So that's the cover reveal. And let's talk about some of the issues that you've had becoming an author for a minute. I really want people to listen to this.
Oh gosh.
No offense, but some of your mistakes. Now you have hindsight is 2020. All right. So let's just talk a little bit about that.
The adage, you get what you pay for, that's not always the truth, because sometimes you pay a lot for a little. And that's kind of my case with this book. I was offered to be in an anthology and I won't mention the name of the
Right,
anthology
no
because
names.
it's not positive. But I was offered to be in an anthology, and quickly said, sure, why not? I thought it was for a good cause, which it probably is. But I decided to hire this person that had published a few books and that was publishing this anthology to help me publish my book, and then an editor that she had recommended. And I'll tell you, there's a night and day difference between you, and I'll specifically say you're awesome, and the quality of service, the level of dedication. Literally, this person decided that she could not work with me because I kept asking hard questions 2 days before the launch of the book, which shows me how much she actually cared. And you know, when you're helping somebody do something so important, sometimes you got to get over you. And I can't foresee us ever having the type of issues that she and I had. However, I can definitely say you wouldn't have skipped town.
No,
And
no, 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 no.
yeah,
And
you wouldn't have quit on me.
so to make a long story short, I was sitting working, and everyone knows that, you know, I offer all of my services on Fiverr, and he found me with a plea for help. And when he told me what was happening, I said, I think I can resolve your issue. I said, actually, there hasn't been an issue I haven't been able to resolve. So 4.5, maybe 5 hours later, we resolved all issues, from formatting issues to cover designs to you name it, and getting the book up and ready for sale. So I think the moral of that story, I think people should vet who you are hiring, whether it's an editor or a marketer, because there are not so good people out there, and there's some really fabulous ones out there.
Yeah.
So I just wanted them to hear a little bit of that journey about you, because I was not necessarily not nice. I was just kind of very like, oh, you cannot publish this like this. That'd be totally embarrassing, you know.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. It was either, look, Mel, if you didn't step up and if you weren't so efficient and so awesome, the book wouldn't have been out. Like, it just wouldn't have been published. And that's it. It was a mess, from formatting to editing. And I mean, even after I said, hey, can you take a look again at the book and its editing to make sure that it's right for the general audience,
Right.
and which you have done.
Now let's talk a little bit about the contents of the book. What will people get out of it, or what would you like for them to get out of your book?
You know, that's kind of a two or threefold. I think the book in and of itself is going to help a lot of people that are working with at-risk youth, or that have rebellious teens, or are, you know, working in juvenile detention centers, foster homes, people like them that are interacting with youths. They can at least get in the mind of a lot of the youths that they're mentoring, that they're interacting with, that they're trying to help. And the book will create some perspective. And the truth is, the vast majority of us have never gone through what these kids are going through, and nor will we, and that's okay. So it makes it very difficult to empathize with someone that is in a situation where they're totally alone. They're, you know, without family, or they've been abused by their parents. I even mentored one kid who turned out to be an amazing young man. We still talk today. He was taken away from his parents because they were abusive. He was put into a foster home where his foster parents were sexually abusive to him.
Wow.
Could you imagine the baggage that this guy, and he's overcome this stuff, but and he wants to, he likes to attribute me to it, and I'll accept, but he had to do the work. I was just the vessel. I was just there. I was just the the thorn in the side, poking them. You've got to do the work to better yourself after all of that stuff. So that's one audience. That's one type of person that I hope that this book definitely is able to impact and not just give perspective, but create some thoughtfulness and give some tools to. Of course, the kids that are in the situation. I would love for the young men and young women that are in these bad situations to be able to pick the book up. It's an easy read. It's not a huge novel, and they can pick it up and be able to sift through it, read through it, and understand that there's a big light at the end of that tunnel. It doesn't have to be dark. It doesn't. And then the third audience is just anyone that likes to read. I think I don't know, you've read it. I'm a little biased, but I think it's a good read. It's a short read, kind of short read. And I think it's good. If you can, escape from your reality into the book's reality and kind of put yourself there, I think it takes you through a journey that you might appreciate at the end.
As a kid, you were raised in very difficult situations. Let's just leave it at that. What do you think inside yourself made you get out of that mindset?
Ooh, I'll tell you that's a trick question, because it took some good people in my life to help me. It took a great martial artist who's unfortunately passed on. It took some mentors, some people that volunteered to help at-risk youth or kids that are ward of the state. It took tenacity. It took a mindset of ever evolving, ever changing, ever getting better. So I point out in the book that I'm the anomaly to this statistic. Like, I'm not the norm. And people have to realize that. Like, the norm is you grow up in this environment and you turn out a certain way. And that's unfortunate. And, in the United States, our incarceration rate and recidivation rate is enormous. And the reason why is because we don't have enough people handing tools to these guys and girls to be able to succeed in life. It's not easy. It's just not. So hopefully this book is just one avenue out there for young men and young women in bad or terrible situations to be able to gain some perspective. The other part of that is people have to get involved. People in good situations, or people that have come through that, or people that have not come through that, but they have a heart to help at-risk youth or young men and young women, have to get involved.
Now, for any parent that's out there right now that is dealing with a teenager child, that's, let's say, in the rebellious state, that's getting into trouble with the law, what advice can you give them without them lecturing their child? Because we know lectures don't work.
No, they don't.
All right. So what could parents actually do?
I'll plug my book. Buy my book. No.
No. Well, actually, that's not a bad idea, but would you recommend maybe they read it together, like as a family?
That would be awesome if you could get your teen to sit down and you go, hey, look, I just want us to read through this guy's situation and the outcome, and entice them with, maybe this guy's living in the lap of luxury in Greece or whatever, because teens like that.
Right.
Then great. The second to that, I'd say you got to find positive role models for him or her. You got to have people that are surrounding your teen with the right stuff, the positivity. And I was a volunteer for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I did speeches for them all over the United States. That's a great organization. They don't accept everyone. So, if you're not a single parent family, then they won't accept you in the program. But there's other avenues to get your teen into an environment of mentoring. And Second to that is I just started a teen mentoring program through my business. So I'm also a life coach. And I just started a program where teens will come and do life coaching. And we'll also have group sessions, all via Zoom, all online. And
Now, where can they
that's
find
also,
that? Just don't say that. Tell me where we can find that.
yeah. It's www.upna.net. So Unlimited Potential Network Academy.net. And yeah, they can sign up for the teen program. But I think the best thing would be to get them involved locally with a good person, a good mentor, a good big brother, a good big sister, something like that. And then definitely come over to the website, see if it's a good match, if you know, they'll sit down and want to do it. But surrounding him or her with positive stuff in this weird, ever-changing world is a must.
What happens if the parents themselves are the bad influence? What can
Oh,
others do?
well, upna.net. So I'm also a life coach. And I'm almost done with my psychology degree. Not that I'm doing counseling, but you know, the difference between life coaching and psychology is life coaching stems from positive psychology. So there was a theory of, well, psychology is only helping people get over their past. And so positive psychology broke out from that where it's helping people plan for their future, right? So there's some space in between there that you go, well, life coaching can really help me. And so I would be willing to take a client on, depending on if it's a good match and what their, I don't want to say issues, but what their things that they want to resolve are. Sometimes you need, like I did, I mentioned this in the book, you need anger management counseling with a therapist, like a certified therapist. Sometimes your behavior is not so bad, but you go, I'm not being the person that I want to be for my kid. And I need to change some habits. I need to change some behavior. And so behavior modification is my thing. And I know how to get people to change things that they don't like about themselves, behaviors that they wish that would just go away, would extinguish. And so if I'm great at anything, I think that's what I'm great at.
Well, this is going to shock you because every time we speak, you find out something just a little bit different about me, you know?
Uh-huh.
I was a principal of a high school for 14 years. That was an alternative school for juvenile delinquents.
No way.
I told you.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
15 years. The average student that I had 8 misdemeanors and 3 felonies. This was their last stop before juvie hall. And I wrote a book, and it's called Long Time Ago, and we got to get together on this thing. And it's called Private Conversations. And basically, I took conversations that I had with some of my students, and they shared with me 14 things. I was able to isolate it. 14 things they wish their parents would have done that would have probably prevented them from getting into their situations. And one of the things, and you hit up on it, was that they wish their parents were better role models. And then the next thing that, that came up, they wish their parents would have set limits instead of them doing a free for all. And then the third thing they said, I wish my parents would just change. And a lot of times when I had to bring the parents in because the teenager did something wrong, even in school, in infractions, I had to look at the parents and I say, I hate to tell you this, but in order for me to help you with your son or your daughter's behavior, you have to change first. Yeah, so that's where that life coaching thing that you were referring to, I think, really hones in onto this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, raising, I have 2 adult children that happen to be doing very well myself. They're 23 and 24 years old, but it's not easy. Raising kids is a challenge for anyone. And when you start compiling, debt and start compiling a bad neighborhood or bad school and bad influences as far as their peers and dot, 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 dot. You compile all that stuff on top of just raising a young man or a young woman. It just gets exponentially more difficult. And so you got to find resources. You got to find ways to help yourself and help the ones that you love. And
do you find parents often use those things that you're talking about as an excuse?
oh yeah. And look, I talk in some of my speeches, I talk about excuses. And the truth is, you don't know what you don't know. And so you kind of, a lot of parents, I think, kind of know that they want to do something. They want to be better. They see a hole or a gap there with their child or their teen, and they go, something should change, but I just don't know. And then you add another barrier like having a limited income, and you go, well, I can't afford counseling, or I can't afford life coaching. Or you add a time constraint. I know a lot of millionaires that can't afford the time to do anything with their kids or for themselves, or have group therapy or have a life coaching session or something, because they're working 16 hours a day. And I always say to people, you make time for the things that you make matter. And that's just the truth. If you don't write something down, if you don't want, I'll talk about behavior change. I tell people, okay, if you want a morning routine, but you fall short, all right? If you want to get up and do 30 minutes of fasted cardio, or you want to wake up and go for a walk, whatever it is you want to do, but you fall short every week, then that just means that you haven't figured out the way you need to solidify that, right? But you don't want it badly enough to figure it out. So you have to seek the things that you don't know. You have to seek the ways that you can change your behavior, or you can modify your thought processes. That's not, you don't know what you don't know. So if you're going to just walk through life and go, well, I wish, that's fine. But you're going to wish until your grave. You have to seek these things. You have to figure out, like, how do I, let me call this guy and see if he'll take payments. Let me call, like my first car. I write this about this in the book. I don't know if you saw it. My first car, I wasn't even old. I didn't even have a driver's license. I had one job and I wanted this car. I would walk by this car every single day. It was a Nissan 240Z, and I wanted it so badly. And one day I said, okay, I'm going to stop and ask this guy if he'll sell me the car. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know. I just wanted the car. And so I knock on his door and I say, hi, sir. I see your car for sale. I've been walking by it for a month or two or whatever it was. I would love to buy it. And he says, it's $3,000 or whatever he was selling it. And I said, I don't have it. And he says, okay. And I said, how can I figure it out? Like what? And he says, well, I'll take payments until you pay it off. And that's what happened. I paid him until I paid it off. I figured it out.
So it takes, if I'm hearing you correctly, it takes more than actually wanting to change. It takes committing to that change and taking action upon it.
Absolutely. You got to take action first. You got to, we all say, I wish I ... Oh, it would be nice ... But it takes a effort in order to change something, or to add something, or to be someone different. It takes effort. So you have to put forth that effort and go, I want it badly enough to whatever. I don't care. I'm going to call this therapist up. I'm going to call this life coach up. I'm going to call big brothers, big sisters, and I'm going to try to figure out how I can ... I can get my kid in this program. How can maybe your budget's limited, but they'll change the price for you. Maybe whatever it takes, maybe you need to go get a part-time job in order to, kind of make your life a little different. But we give up on ourselves so easily.
So that again, the title of your book is Why Me? And again, you're saying, why not me? You
Absolutely.
can change, you can set goals, and you can actually achieve. So this particular book is a very valuable book, not only for guidance counselors, school teachers, youth ministers, anybody that is dealing with the youth of our in today's society across the world, but it also is a valuable tool, hopefully for parents, where they can open up some of this dialogue between their teen and themselves for change. So I highly recommend this book, Why Me by David Armstrong. It's available right now on Amazon in two ways. Right now, there's a limited edition, and it's, when I say limited, only 100 of those are going to be for sale, and it has his autographs on them. Now, the other one will be an identical version. However, it won't have the autograph. So if you want to get in early on the limited edition, I suggest you go right over to Amazon right now, and I'll give you the link here in a second. But go buy the book and get it and read it. And you know what? These would make good Christmas presents right now for anybody that you know that is a teacher. You know, buy them for your teachers, buy them for your pastors, buy them for the youth ministers, buy them for your friends that have teens. You know, make a difference in somebody's life today with this book, Why Me by David. All right, David, I want to thank you so much for coming on Dr. Mel's message today. You have just been awesome, and I wish you so much success with your book.
I really, really, really appreciate Dr. Mel. I'm glad we found each other. You're a godsend, and I know we're going to work together for a long time. I'm sure of it. 100%.
Awesome. Again, the book is Why Me by David Armstrong.